as you leave the church, please make me a vigilance check. All right.
One success.
As you are leaving the church, some movement in the forest that it borders catches your eye. And Alvon, you are simply alarmed as you notice a figure standing in the woods holding a bow and arrow. But Dixon is able to quickly gather that this person is not particularly threatening looking, being as she is a child.
Alphon will try to hide in the graveyard, behind an old, grimy, overgrown grave.
And Dixon will examine her from where he is.
She's a girl, maybe like early teens. She's dressed for walking out in the woods, it looks like, holding a bow and arrow, got long red hair in a braid. Not really. Well, she wasn't looking at you, but now she seems to have noticed that someone's looking at her, so she's now looking over at you. And she sort of looks surprised for a second, and then she gets this big smile on her face, and she hops over the low wall that separates the forest from the cemetery and kind of hurries over to you. And she says, I haven't seen you here before.
I have not seen you here before either, so on that point we are even.
And you're not even from anywhere around here, are you?
I have indeed been on quite a journey in my time.
That is interesting. We don't really get a lot of people. Is that your friend hiding over there?
Alvon? No, he's a priest. He's checking out the gravestones.
Oh, thought I might have scared him.
He's not easily scared. Not normally.
That's good. I was hunting, so... Not you, or anything like that. Deer. I was hunting deer. There's not really a lot to do around here. Oh, I'm Wilhelmina Skid.
My name is Dixon.
Nice to meet you. And he's still looking at the tombstone? Are you sure?
Alphon will step out from behind the tombstone.
Hello?
Morning.
Good morning. So, what are you doing here?
We came here to investigate a disappearance.
Oh, yes. The other two that were here. Well, I don't know where he went, but they did come to my house a few times to talk to my mother.
That does not surprise us. But my friend is correct. We are indeed looking into the disappearance of one of the two men.
And which one disappeared?
Hammerstrom. He has not returned. And Niles has returned, but he is not sound of mind at the moment.
That's strange.
Well, it isn't exactly normal, I grant you that. Niles said that he encountered a beast in the village, one that protects this here church. Red eyes, it said.
That's what people say, although I hadn't heard anything about red eyes. I don't think anyone here has ever seen it. I mean, I don't even know if it's real, but I think it would be more interesting if it was, so it might as well be.
If someone went missing in the forests, where would be the most likely place?
The forest is big. I don't usually come over this way, so I haven't looked much, well, I guess around here? Normally I go more east. I'm getting a little bit too close to forest that my family doesn't own, and Marta wouldn't like that, so...
I do get that impression.
I'm already a little too far. The church isn't really anyone's land, so that should be fine. But, yeah, I haven't really looked anywhere over that way. And she points sort of to the west. But the forest is, well, there's a lot of it. Anyone really could be missing almost anywhere.
That is surprisingly unhelpful.
Unhelpful, but true. I will say, it's been sort of quiet in the forest for the last few days. It's been a little odd, but I heard today a lot of birds, well, just over there, And again, she points where she said she wasn't going to go. Crows. A lot of them.
Worth looking into.
It's always quiet around the church, but I don't know. It's like everything's scared off, I guess. Except the crows, I think.
Right.
Well, nice to meet you. I probably should get going because I'm not really supposed to be out here at all. I was maybe supposed to be doing some school or something like that. You could come to my house, though, if you have any questions. My mother might know more, and we just don't get a lot of people here, ever, which is so boring.
I'm sure at some point we will speak with your mother.
Alright, well, I hope you find whichever one it was you were looking for, and I hope the other one gets better.
Why, thank you.
And she turns around and heads back in the direction that she said was her family's forest and keeps going off that way. And now that you are in the graveyard and Alvon was hiding behind a tombstone, I need an investigation check from anyone who's interested in investigating.
1 success. And Dix will go over and kneel down and start brushing some of the dirt away from a patch on the ground. That is a somewhat larger cat than is typical of the household variety, wouldn't you say?
Yes, I would say so.
In your research, there wasn't any information on exactly what kind of creature this thing was it?
No, just a cat from what we gathered.
Make a learning test.
1 success. Now, I admit, my understanding of these things are usually not quite as pronounced as yourself. I did, in one of the books in our library, I believe it was a bit more of a journal by one of our predecessors. It did describe something known as a grim, a church grim. Apparently they guard graveyards and houses of God against looters and thieves. Have you ever heard of a Vaesen in the service of God?
Well, no. I wouldn't say they're demonic in nature, but they're certainly not of the Lord.
See, that's what I thought, but one of our predecessors had felt otherwise. He believed he had encountered one of these creatures at some point in time. It is a intelligent creature of some description. I don't know how sentient it is, but I believe it is more than what you would normally find in a feline.
The biggest problem we have is what are we going to do?
And there we agree on several issues. One being, if it is in the service of the church and of God, we do not really wish to be in opposition of it.
Certainly not. I think we should focus on finding the missing man.
I think it could be worth looking in the direction of the crows.
And if you're listening, you can indeed hear some crows.
The crow.
Okay, you're heading in that direction. As you get closer to the sound of the crows, you notice a very strong smell. And if you are at all familiar with the smell of death, you recognize it as such. And when you reach the spot of ground above which a flock of crows is sitting in a tree, there is perhaps not a surprising, but possibly still distressing sight awaiting you. There is a body on the ground. You do not know what Gottfried looked like, but you do not know of anyone else missing in this area, so that may be your first assumption. It is clear the body has been here for some days. Animals have certainly been investigating, if not more, and it almost seems as though the area of the body is more overgrown than you would expect for how long you know it has been there. But yes, whoever this man is, he is very dead.
He will go up, and his first thing is going to be examining... Does he look, and I'm assuming it's a he, like one of the villagers? Does he look more
No.
city folk, like what we'd seen
Yes.
around the...
Yes.
Which is what he expected. He will then examine more of the body for the wounds and cause of death.
Make a medicine or learning check. I mean, you can push if you want
Yeah,
to.
but I'm going to yeah, all right. 1 success.
Okay. So yes, you take one. That'll be a mental condition because you weren't. It is somewhat difficult to tell because you can tell that animals have been scavenging this body, but you believe the cause of death to be a large predator of some kind. If it was a natural animal, it would have to be a bear or a wolf. But as you have recently been discussing the church grim, that possibility also comes to mind.
Dixon spends a while, not maybe 30 minutes, examining the body. And when he finishes, he stands and turns. I cannot give you an exact cause of death. There has been other, more natural creatures who have also partake in the corpse. However, there is enough injuries of a large beast of some description. I would suggest it was the church grim. I do not know which wound would have been the fatal one, but there is at least 3 which could be contenders for the title. I did find this upon his person, and hands a note to Alvon.
So we are to believe that he is setting him up?
Who was setting up who? You're inferring that the priest was setting up Hammerstrom for his untimely demise.
Yes. He also seemed quite nervous.
I did get the impression he was hiding something. Well, that does put us in a rather peculiar position, one that I have not yet really felt that we have been in before.
It's certainly not one I wish to be in again.
I guess the real question here is exactly where we stand on said priest. If he was not up to anything nefarious, then he was protecting the church. But if he was not up to something nefarious, but was working with the Grim, either directly or, as you said, setting him up, does that not break one of the commandments? I didn't think those things were meant to be incredibly flexible for people in his profession.
To my knowledge, they are not.
So even if he was doing it for the right reason, he was doing the wrong thing. Or he was going to try to benefit from the mine in some way.
I think he was just trying to protect the church, but not endorse murder.
It does seem a rather extreme way of dealing with this situation. That does imply, though, that he does know of the church grim as more than being a legend. That he would have known that it would be in the area or would show up, or he may even be able to summon it. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Why was this found on Martyr's Land? Was that just coincidence? In truth, it could well be. The beast itself may not be worrying about property lines.
It would be funny if it was.
We will need to see the townsfolk. Someone will have to come out and bring this poor soul back so that he can be dealt with properly. I really do not mean to be rude, Father Alvon, but lately it seems that members in your profession have been somewhat underwhelming in their morals and ethics.
As you walk by the church, Father Ingar spots you and quickly hurries over to you and says, "Oh, I didn't know where you'd gone. I'm glad it wasn't far because I promised that I would look for anything about the Guardian, and I found something. Now, it is rather an old manuscript, so I'm afraid I can't give you the original, but I copied it out so I can give you a copy here." And he hands to you a handwritten, not original manuscript. And he says, "Now, from what I can tell, this is just a piece of a bigger manuscript, but I've not been able to find the other pages, which is strange. They should all be within the church, but I will keep looking. And anyone reading the note, please make me an investigation check."
Nope.
Okay, something is odd. Not the contents of the note, but the look of it. Something just in your brain is just like, something's weird here.
Why, thank you for the information. It does seem unusual.
The information or the fact that I cannot find the rest of the manuscript?
Possibly both.
Well, Honestly, it was the first time I'd ever seen this particular page. I cannot claim to have gone through and catalogued everything in some time, but yes, there should be more.
Who would have known of such a thing?
Well, I mean, there are legends, of course, in the village, and as I told you, my predecessor impressed upon me the existence of such a creature, although I have not seen it myself. He said that he had. I suppose anyone who had been close with him, perhaps anyone more familiar with local history, or...
And do you have anyone that you would recommend that fits those criteria?
Well, if you want to know about local history, I suppose Marta knows the most. She's very big on tradition and and well, all
I
that
got that
sort
impression.
of thing.
Somewhat quick to judge, too, I fear.
She can be a bit, I'm not sure the word, stubborn, perhaps.
What about? Was there anyone that your predecessor was close to?
Oh,
And I also mean possibly inappropriately. I am not judging, sir. I am merely trying to get to the bottom of things. I understand that this is a lonely place.
I am, I am certainly not aware of any relationships of that sort. I know that he was friends with Dorothea's husband, but he has been dead for some time.
What was his relationship like with Dorothea's?
My mentor or her husband?
Your mentor.
Not particularly close. I mean, of course, he checked in on her and her daughter after the death of her husband, but he never continued the visits he used to make to their home regularly. His friend was no longer there to discuss things with.
Well, I thank you for the information. It gives us something to work from, at least.
Of course, and if there's anything else you need, I will continue looking for the manuscript. I suspect I will be better at that than searching for missing persons, or I don't really know what else it is you're doing, but I am probably better at looking for papers than it.
Ultimately, we're just trying to get to the bottom of things, sir. And that includes the protection of the church.
Very good. It is possibly worth noting, he does not, at this point, he seemed nervous when you talked to him before, but that dissipated after you basically got him to admit he'd been uncomfortable with the fact that Gottfried was trying to convince him to convince the villagers to sell, and that he knew of the existence of the church grim. After those two things were gotten out with, he's not got the air of nerves anymore. He's seeming like he's willing to tell you whatever or help with whatever. He no longer seems hesitant.
And Dix will head over towards the town hall, hoping to find a couple of big strapping lads with a strong stomach.